On this day, we come together not just to celebrate the passing of time, but to honor the legacy, the memories, and the community that have made Goffstown High School so much more than just a building. 60 years ago, in 1965, the doors of this school first opened, welcoming generations of students through its halls with the promise of learning, growth, and opportunity. Since that first day, Goffstown High has been more than a place for textbooks and tests. It has been the heart of this town. It's where friendships have been built, lessons have been learned, challenges have been faced, and dreams have been launched. Our Grizzly pride has echoed through classrooms, onto the playing fields, across the stage, and into every corner of this community. As we celebrate 6 decades of history, achievement, and tradition, we also look ahead, knowing that the spirit of Goffstown High School lives on in every student who walks these halls, every teacher who inspires, and every graduate who carries their GHS experience out into the world.
Hi, my name is Claire LaRoche, and I'm the current president of Rho Kappa and a senior here at Goffstown High School. And for the 60th anniversary of this school being built, we decided to make a little compilation of memories that we think really capture what the school stands for.
Winter, we had broom hockey, and that was on the pond, which is now the track, and we'd shovel it off, and the fire department would spray it down, and the only rules of it were you had to wear rubber boots and bring a broom. You'd just about be ready to hit the ball, and boom, down you'd go. Well, the next day, that's all you could talk about at school. But how much fun you had the day before.
Mr. Konechny was he was the coach, and he would call the house the night before, and if you were not in, then to answer your phone, you didn't get to play the game because you had to be prepared for that game. He did baseball. There was no football at the time, but that was baseball and basketball.
I would say a special one for me probably would be the football championship here, Division I football championship. That is just so hard in a small, the smallest school in Division I. And, just a decade before we didn't even have a football team. So again, in the semifinals and then going on to UNH, packed house, but beating Billy Ball and Exeter, and one of the great tight ends on that team made it in the NFL for Exeter. So what Justin Huff did and what his coaching staff did and those kids on that team, that is really, really hard to do. And that is taking nothing away from any of our teams who do well or have won at the Division II level, like our great wrestling team just did, and others. That's hard to do as well. But when you're talking 20 schools in Division I football, we are the smallest enrollment school, to beat all those, it's just amazing. And then what it did for the community. I mean, those games were packed. How many people came here, how many people traveled to Exeter for that championship game, and just the special experience that was for the whole Goffstown High School community.
One of the newspaper clippings I had over there for you guys of when the state championship we won. Now being a parent and understanding that feeling of your kid going out there and competing, and a lot of the relationships I built with the parents of the kids I was coaching, I'm still connected with a lot of those parents and family. It's a pretty special bond that you get to have.
So Mr. Ward was my AP US history teacher, and he taught me humility and kindness, and of course history, but that's not particularly interesting. But the way that he could flip-flop between understanding the importance of something like huge world events and then flip-flop into talking about how much he likes Casablanca or how much he likes Spencer Tracy or something like that was really just awesome. To be able to meet someone who can infuse this love that I have for art with a love for history is really fantastic. And I was able to marry my love for art with this newfound love for history because he ignited that in me.
A special memory at Goffstown High School was there used to be a talent show here that was called Mr. GHS. It was a combination of talent. There was like a dance-off. You had to try to sing a song, and my year I won. And the other really memorable part of it was 2 of my best friends. We were all from New Boston, and we took first, second, third that year. But it was just like a really fun event to be a part of.
The Vietnam War was happening during those days, and one of the things that I think that all of the guys in my class were concerned about was either going to college or doing something to where you wouldn't get drafted after high school. Some of the guys did, and some of them fared well, and some of them not so much.
But it was also a very serious time, too. It was during Vietnam, and there was protests.
In our senior year, when everybody was graduating and getting...
And there was a draft, and so you didn't know if your boyfriends were going off to war. And, it was a very serious time. So
That's right.
In between, we tried to have a good time.
Yeah. You didn't understand. I mean, history was like, I didn't want to know a date. I didn't want to know any of that. But now, I go to museums. So it's like,
It's more relevant.
right? It's like, wow, that's what that was all about.
Ronald Reagan, when he came, and he was coming to talk to the seniors, but he came into the opening and we were just there by the double doors sitting at our table, a few of my friends, and we were like, oh, who these guys in suits coming in, and we got up to look, but then they stopped us. I didn't know why, and then he just came right up and shook our hands, and he gave us an autograph, and so that was pretty cool. I actually didn't know until I got home and told my dad, this guy, Ronald Reagan, came in. He's like, Ronald Reagan came in? I was like, well, that's pretty neat. So that was a pretty good memory,
A little bit more dark, but 9/11 happened my freshman year. But it's something that, anyone who was alive then and was old enough, you just will remember where you are. When it was happening, basically administration decided that we should see it and see what's going on. I think we saw some of the towers actually going, falling down live. But that day, certainly that event would definitely stick with me, obviously forever.
2002 was, of course, September 11th, so I shared the picture of the banner that we made. So Derek, Jakes, and myself made that banner. We signed our names first, and eventually all the school signed the banner. We sent it down to New York and got that picture I shared with you guys. So that was it was a big thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it probably didn't do too much, but it felt like to be a part of something special was pretty unique.
Athletics were a little different also. We had boys soccer, basketball, baseball. That's it. Same thing for girls. Field hockey, basketball, softball, cheerleading in the winter. There was no wrestling, there was no lacrosse, football, hockey, cross country, track. None of that existed.
Graduated with a class of, I think, of about 85 people back then. Small class. The school was fairly new, and it was a major upgrade from the schools that existed in the center of town. The little courtyards, the gymnasium, the size of it, the theater, those things didn't exist in those days. The rear parking lot, the playing fields were not here.
I just think we've grown and developed, and if I go even back a little bit before that, I think one of the huge changes has been the amount of co-curricular offering here. And athletic director I was part of some of the growth. I've shared it before, is that my very first act as an athletic director was sitting down at the Turcotte's table, which were when the individuals that brought hockey to Goffstown High School. And hockey was the original sport that started that avalanche of sports that I talked about before with, and I might be out of order, but wrestling and football and lacrosse and many others that followed.
That first freshman year was the first year of the wrestling program. I started wrestling when I was 6 years old, so I was the only one that knew how to wrestle in the school. So we did an assembly in front of the entire school where we did a demo of what wrestling was. I was really trying to earn respect for the program in the school. We were kind of this new thing. It was kind of weird. And we built the program into what it is today. They just won the state championship again last year. The coaches now I coached when I was here, so it's cool to see that they're continuing down that path and doing a really great job.
When I started my freshman year, the high school was going through a huge overhaul. The cafeteria, it's a little bit of where the weight room is, and that entrance by the gym now, that used to be the cafeteria in that space. all the construction that was going on, probably my freshman and sophomore year, was just something I remember.
I think one of the things that when I was younger, I was really focused on the acquisition of things, of titles and prestige and money and reputation and those things. Not that wealth isn't important or not that reputation is important. They are. Those things are important. But as time goes on, I've really recognized that the most important thing are relationships. Is, somebody that would be next to me reading a story to me or holding my hand or consoling me kind of thing when that time comes, and it comes for all of us. And that's what's important, are relationships.
Either start a reunion if there isn't one, or keep it going. It's so important to keep these connections, and the older you get, we feel closer we get.
Yeah.
We all have a history. We all have a background. It's very similar. Everybody's different. We have Pinardville. At that time, we had New Boston and Dunbarton, and and still, some of us continue to maintain friendships, and that is important in anybody's life.
I would always say, work hard, take advantage of opportunities. And I just think hard work just leads to opportunities. So I would say, if you enjoy schooling and you want to do more schooling, great. If not, what fields or trades or what have you. But whatever it is, do it 100% and take advantage of all the opportunities. And often with working hard too, you build a great network of people that and use those people and the opportunities that you have. So I guess that'd be a bit of my advice.
Thank you all for being a part of this incredible milestone. Here's to the past 60 years and to the many more still to come.